Most older men miss the moment when a woman is flirting. You think she is being polite. She asks a question, you give a safe answer, and spark slips away. Weeks later, you realize she had opened a door, and you never stepped through. That is the heartbreak most men over 40 know too well. It is not about lines, it is about awareness. Here is the truth. Women rarely make a grand move. They float signals that test your energy, your calm, and your ability to hold tension without chasing. If you do not see it, she reads it as disinterest. If you overplay it, she feels unsafe. The sweet spot is presence. The right response is simple, grounded, and a little mysterious. In this video, I will show you the questions women use as soft invitations, what they really mean, and how a Stoic man answers without trying too hard. You will learn how to turn curiosity into connection, how to stand in your frame, and how to let her feel the pull without pushing. This is for men who want elegance, not games. If that sounds like you, hit subscribe so you do not miss what is coming. Give me a few minutes, and I will give you a lens. Listen closely. Notice the patterns. Keep your shoulders loose and your eyes steady. Let's get into it. Question 1. How old are you really? You've heard this question before. Maybe it came from a woman at a bar, a co-worker at lunch, or someone you met at a social event. She smiles and says, "So, how old are you really?" You laugh, maybe you deflect, maybe you downplay it. Old enough to know better or worse. Too old for you. It sounds playful, but underneath that question lies a truth most men never see. She isn't asking about your birth year. She's testing how you carry your age. Women, especially women who are drawn to older men, feel energy more than numbers. When she asks that question, what she's really looking for is whether you wear your years like a burden or like armor. Confidence has a texture to it. It shows in your tone, in your eyes, in how you hold a pause. The moment you joke about being too old, you tell her you're insecure. The moment you get defensive, you tell her you don't own your story. Take Rick, 64, divorced, successful, still figuring out how to live without chasing validation. He meets Jenna, 48, at a jazz bar in New Orleans. She leans in and says, "You don't look your age." "How old are you really?" Rick laughs nervously, says, "Too old for this scene," and looks away. She smiles politely, takes a sip of her drink and shifts her body toward another conversation. The spark dies quietly. Rick didn't fail because of his words. He failed because of the energy behind them. He made age a wall instead of an invitation. Now imagine the same moment handled differently. If Rick had looked her in the eye and said, "Old enough to appreciate good music and better company," then paused with calm confidence, the energy would have shifted. It's not about clever lines, it's about presence. A grounded man doesn't chase youth. He radiates experience. His calm draws curiosity instead of pity. Here's the psychology behind it. Women are drawn to men who are settled within themselves. A man who accepts his stage of life fully becomes magnetic because he is rare. In a world obsessed with pretending to be younger, real maturity feels dangerous in the best way. Stoic philosophy calls this amor fati, the love of one's fate. A man who accepts his age as part of his identity projects the quiet power of self-ownership. That's the kind of presence that turns a simple question into chemistry. So the next time someone asks you, "How old are you really?" hear it differently. She's not counting years. She's feeling for comfort, confidence, and energy. Your answer doesn't need to be witty. It needs to be steady. Hold her gaze for half a second longer than you think you should. Smile slowly. Then speak from calm certainty, not performance. A good answer sounds like old enough to know what matters and young enough to still enjoy it. It tells her you're alive, grounded, and not apologizing for time. That balance between humor and confidence is what most men never master. So next time you hear that question, don't flinch, don't brag, and don't shrink. Own the moment. Let your years speak for you. Let her feel that you're not running from age, you're walking beside it. If this part hits home, drop a comment below and make it yours. Say, I own my age. Stick with me because this is just the beginning. Question 2. Why aren't you married? This one always sounds innocent, doesn't it? She tilts her head a little, her tone casual, and asks, so, why aren't you married? Most men freeze. Some laugh it off. I guess no one could handle me. Others go defensive. Marriage isn't what it used to be. And just like that, the energy collapses. Because this question isn't about your past or paperwork or divorce statistics. It's about your availability. She's not asking what happened. She's wondering if something can happen. When a woman asks this, she's looking for an emotional read, not a biography. She wants to know if you're still open, if your heart has space, or if it's locked behind old stories. What you say in the next few seconds tells her whether you're a man who's stuck in bitterness or one who's learned, healed, and moved forward. The mistake most men make is turning this question into a confession booth. They explain too much talk about their ex, their disappointments, their regrets. But remember what Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it. She doesn't care about the pain, she cares about your estimate of it. Your attitude toward what's behind you reveals what kind of man stands in front of her. A Stoic man answers with clarity and calm. He doesn't justify, he doesn't complain. He lets his truth breathe in one simple sentence. Something like, life took me in a different direction and I'm good with where I am now. That kind of answer signals self-possession. You're not bitter, you're not chasing, you're simply here. Think of it this way, she's not measuring your resume, she's sensing your peace. A man who's at peace with his past feels safe. A man still wrestling ghosts will bring those ghosts with him. You don't need to pretend you never loved or lost. You just need to show that you've integrated those lessons. There's a subtle Stoic truth in this. Detachment is not coldness, it's composure. It's the ability to talk about the hardest parts of your story without letting them control your tone. Epictetus said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." If your judgment is calm, she feels that calm. If your judgment is sharp, she feels that edge. So when she asks, "Why aren't you married?" don't hear judgment, hear curiosity. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let it stretch a moment. Smile lightly. Let her feel your steadiness. Then answer in a way that suggests freedom, not loneliness. Something like, "I've learned a lot about connection, and I'm open to what fits naturally now." It's honest, confident, and open-ended. It leaves the door cracked without forcing it. Women respond to emotional temperature, not information. When your answer radiates warmth and groundedness, it signals maturity. When it radiates resentment or fear, it closes everything down. The Stoic path here is simple: don't defend, don't perform, and don't apologize for your path. You've lived, you've learned, and you stand where you are with peace. That's what she's searching for when she asks that question, not your history, but your energy. If this resonates, drop it in the comments and let it land. Say, "I stay grounded." Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. Question 3. Do you date younger women? This one catches a lot of men off guard. You're talking casually, the vibe is easy, and then she looks at you with that playful half smile and asks, "Do you date younger women?" Most men panic for a second, unsure if it's a trap or an opportunity. They start fumbling, "Oh, not really," or "I prefer women my age," or they try to sound clever. Well, depends on how young. But here's the truth, she's not asking for your dating resume. She's giving you permission. When a woman asks that question, she's not fishing for gossip. She's testing your comfort with desire, power, and age dynamics. What she really wants to feel is your ease, that calm assurance that you don't need to justify attraction. You simply know who you are. Confidence without arrogance. Let's put it into perspective. Marcus, 58, is sitting in a bookstore cafe on a Saturday afternoon. He's divorced, works in finance, quiet but sharp. Across from him, a woman named Claire, 41, is chatting about a novel she's reading. There's light teasing between them. She leans forward. Her voice lowers a touch and she asks, "So do you ever date younger women?" Now Marcus could have gone two ways, one wrong, one right. The wrong way, to defend or brag. He could have said no, not really, in a nervous tone, or, "Yeah, they seem to like me," in a cocky one. Either answer kills the vibe. One makes him sound unsure, the other insecure. But the right move, the Stoic move, is to stay centered. Marcus smiles slightly, meets her eyes, and says, "I don't chase age. I'm drawn to energy and connection. That's what matters." Then he goes back to sipping his coffee. No explanation, no apology. Just calm, direct confidence. Claire laughs softly, touches her hair, and the air between them shifts. He didn't try to impress her. He just owned his truth. That's magnetic. See, what most men miss is that this question is never about youth, it's about vitality. Women don't want to feel like you're chasing youth to prove something. They want to feel that you can appreciate it without being ruled by it. That balance is what creates attraction. From a Stoic perspective, this moment is about detachment, not from desire, but from the need to validate yourself through it. As Seneca wrote, "He is most powerful who has himself in his own power." That means you can acknowledge attraction, enjoy the dynamic, but you're never controlled by it. You can admire beauty without trying to possess it. So when she asks, "Do you date younger women?" hear what she's really saying. Are you the kind of man who knows his value without comparison? The answer she wants isn't a number. It's your tone, your composure, your sense of self. You can even turn it lightly with humor that carries confidence, not arrogance. Something like, "I enjoy good company, no matter what year it says on their driver's license." Then hold her gaze. Let the silence do some of the talking. The pause is what she'll feel. In that quiet space, attraction grows, not because you said something clever, but because you didn't flinch. You didn't justify, you didn't over-explain. You simply stood in your frame. So the next time that question shows up, don't dodge it, don't overplay it. Let it hang in the air for a heartbeat. Smile, then answer like a man who knows himself. If that makes sense to you, drop a comment below and claim it. Say, "I hold my frame." Stay with me because this is where things start to get interesting. Question 4. What kind of woman do you usually go for? When she asks this, she isn't making small talk. She's not doing a survey, and she's definitely not asking you to list your type. She's running a quiet test, one that reveals more about you than your answer ever could. The question, "What kind of woman do you usually go for?" isn't really about her, it's about you. She's looking to see if you know what you value, or if you're just chasing whatever gives you attention. Most men fall into one of two traps here. Some get superficial, they talk about looks, curves, hair, color, or style. Others go too vague, "Oh, I don't really have a type." Both answers kill attraction. Why? Because one sounds shallow, the other sounds empty. What she wants to hear, what she feels drawn to, is your clarity. A man who knows what he values communicates it without arrogance. He can talk about attraction without sounding desperate. He can appreciate beauty without losing balance. The Stoics called this sophrosyne moderation the virtue of self-mastery. It's what separates a man who's grounded from a man who's drifting. When she asks you that question, she's not asking for a checklist. She's scanning for alignment. She's thinking, do I fit his frame? Would he see me? Or am I just another face in the crowd? Here's how you answer like a Stoic man. You pause not because you're searching for a clever line, but because you're choosing to speak with intention. You smile slightly and say something like, "I'm drawn to women who bring peace and depth, someone comfortable in her own skin." That kind of answer does two things. It sets a standard, and it reflects your own emotional maturity. It shows that you've lived enough to know that calm is more attractive than chaos. You see, the truth is this: what we desire reveals what we lack. If you're still drawn to women who drain your energy, it means you're still trying to fix something inside yourself. But when you've done the work, your attraction changes. You start to want what reflects your growth. A peaceful woman becomes magnetic because she mirrors your peace. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." That freedom isn't just about courage. It's about emotional bravery, the willingness to be clear about what you want and strong enough not to settle for less. When you speak your standard with calm confidence, you show freedom. You show choice. That's what pulls her in, not your answer itself, but the way you carry it. The quiet tone, the ease, the certainty. It tells her you've already done the internal work. You don't need validation. You choose connection. So the next time she asks, "What kind of woman do you usually go for?" remember, she's not just curious. She's evaluating whether you live with intention. Be honest, be grounded, but stay unattached to the outcome. If she fits, she'll feel it. If she doesn't, she'll respect it. And that's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to impress, you start to attract. If this resonates with you, take a second to join the Stoic Brotherhood, our members-only community, where men like you sharpen their mindset, build emotional discipline, and master presence in relationships. Membership gives you deeper insights, guided lessons, and private discussions that go beyond what we share here on YouTube. Click the join button below this video and step into a space built for modern Stoic men. If that message hits home, share it in the comments. Say, "I know my standard." Don't go anywhere. The next part reveals something men rarely see coming. Question 5. Are you always this charming? This question sounds playful, but make no mistake, it's a test. When a woman says, "Are you always this charming?" she isn't just giving you a compliment. She's feeling out your composure under heat. It's a moment of flirtation wrapped in curiosity, and how you respond determines whether the tension grows or disappears. Most men kill the energy right there. They either deflect it, "Nah, I just got lucky tonight," or they inflate it, "Of course, I've always been this way." Both moves are wrong because both shift the focus away from presence. One rejects her feminine energy, the other tries to dominate it. What she's really looking for is balance, that rare ability to receive attraction without losing control of your center. Let me give you an example. Alan, 52, was at a friend's rooftop dinner party in Austin. He's the kind of man who doesn't say much, but always carries himself with quiet confidence. Across the table sat Nora, 45, sharp, successful, and with that kind of magnetic laugh that makes the whole table lighter. At one point, Alan made a witty remark, simple, subtle, but perfectly timed. Nora looked at him, smiled, and said, "Are you always this charming?" Alan didn't flinch. He smiled slowly, looked at her for a brief second, and said, "Only when someone brings out the best in me." Then he paused. Silence. That half-second of stillness let the words breathe. Nora's smile deepened. That's the difference between reacting and responding. Charm, when done right, isn't a performance, it's awareness. It's the art of noticing without trying. The masculine energy in that moment is grounded, steady, and unshaken. Women can feel the difference instantly. When you're trying too hard, your energy leaks. When you're centered, your calm becomes irresistible. Here's what's happening underneath the surface. When she gives you that kind of compliment, she's testing your ability to hold tension without deflecting it. If you brush it off, you reject intimacy. If you brag, you break the spell. But if you hold the moment with poise, you let her feel seen and safe at the same time. That combination, calm, confidence, and emotional steadiness, is what she truly finds sexy. Remember, Stoicism doesn't mean coldness. It means self-command. You can be warm and grounded at the same time. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you can take a compliment without shrinking or boasting, you demonstrate mastery over your emotions. You show her that you can handle attraction not by chasing it, but by containing it. And here's the secret most men miss: women flirt not to test your humor, but your frame. She wants to feel if you can stay centered in your masculine energy when the air gets charged. The moment you start proving yourself, you lose that polarity. So next time you hear, "Are you always this charming?" breathe. Let a small smile form. Look her in the eyes just long enough to create tension. Then say something simple and honest that keeps the energy grounded. "Only when the company's this good, or I try to be." Keep it soft, confident, and present. That's how charm becomes connection, not noise, but resonance. It's not about trying to win her. It's about letting her feel you're unshaken. If that lesson rings true for you, drop a comment and claim it. Say, "I stay composed." Stick with me, because what's next dives even deeper into what women really mean when they tease you. Question 6. Why don't you have a girlfriend? Now this one stings a little, doesn't it? It sounds casual, maybe even teasing, but when a woman asks, "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" she's poking at something deeper. She's not accusing you of being unlovable. She's asking, are you emotionally available, or are you hiding behind solitude? Most men answer this question poorly. Some get defensive. "I'm just focusing on myself." Others turn it into a joke, "because I scare them off." But underneath both answers send the same signal: discomfort. When you joke it away or justify it, you show that the question hit a nerve. And to her, that says you're either closed off or still recovering from something you haven't made peace with. Here's what's really happening. She's not trying to put you down. She's testing the waters to see if you're open or unavailable, hopeful or hardened. Because deep down she wants to know, is this man still capable of connection, or has he walled himself off? A Stoic man doesn't run from that question. He welcomes it. He uses it as a mirror. Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That line applies perfectly here. She's less interested in your situation and more interested in your reaction to it. How do you hold yourself when something personal comes up? Are you calm, bitter, awkward, detached? You don't need a perfect story. You just need composure. A grounded answer sounds something like this: "Life's been full. I've enjoyed focusing on what matters, and I'm open to something real when it fits naturally." That's it. Simple, steady, unhurried. You're not trying to prove that you're fine. You are fine. You're not hiding behind excuses, and you're not oversharing. You've just shown that you can hold emotional space without fear. That's powerful, because for many women this question is also a confession in disguise. It's her way of saying, if you don't have someone, could that someone be me? The tone may be light, but the intent is heavy with curiosity, and your answer either keeps the door open or quietly closes it. There's another layer here that most men miss. Stoicism teaches that a man's strength lies in his ability to choose calm over chaos. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." You can't control who walks into your life or who leaves it, but you can control how you meet the next person, whether with resentment or readiness. So when she asks why you're single, meet it with that kind of energy, calm, content, open. Don't treat it as a personal attack. Treat it as a compliment disguised as curiosity. It means she's considering you. She's wondering where she might fit. And here's the key: don't let loneliness leak through your answer. Even if you've been alone for a while, don't speak from lack. Speak from abundance, from gratitude for the space you've had to grow. That's what makes you attractive. A man who's fine by himself but open to more radiates quiet strength. So next time you hear that question, don't rush to defend or explain. Smile. Let a short pause stretch. Then answer from peace, not need. Because the truth is, a man who doesn't need a relationship to feel whole is the one most ready for one. If that message hits home, share it below. Say, I am enough. Let's keep going. The next question reveals the moment when words turn into something more. Question 7. Would you ever date someone like me? Now, we're getting into dangerous territory, not in a bad way, but in the most human way possible. When a woman asks, would you ever date someone like me, she's not being playful anymore. She's revealing something vulnerable. That question is a confession hidden behind a smile. You'll notice it by the way she says it, a mix of light teasing and nervous curiosity. Her eyes hold yours a second too long. Her tone dips just slightly. She's not fishing for compliments. She's hoping for safety. She wants to know if it's okay to want you. Let me paint a picture. Charlie, 66, retired firefighter from Seattle, meets Melissa, 52, at an art class he joined after his divorce. They talk easily, no pressure, no performance. During a break while cleaning brushes, she looks at him and says softly, would you ever date someone like me? Now this is the kind of moment most men mishandle. Some freeze and laugh it off. Someone like you, you're way out of my league. Others take it as an opening for a compliment. Why wouldn't I? You're gorgeous. Both miss the point. Because this question isn't about beauty or status, it's about acceptance. In that instant, she's not testing your humor. She's testing your emotional steadiness. What she really means is, if I showed you who I am, my scars, my age, my fears, would you still want me? Charlie did something different. He smiled, calm and warm, looked her in the eyes and said, I'd be a fool not to. Then he let the silence linger. He didn't rush to fill the air or explain himself. That stillness, that pause, carried more meaning than any clever words could. Melissa blushed, looked down and smiled. That's the power of grounded honesty. See, at this stage of life, attraction is no longer about proving anything. It's about recognition. Women who ask this question aren't looking for reassurance. They're looking for real. They want to see if your attraction goes beyond surface, if you can meet them without judgment. Here's where Stoicism meets romance. Epictetus said, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. Replace anger with fear, and the same applies. When a woman risks vulnerability with you, she's battling her own self-doubt. Your job isn't to fix it, it's to hold space for it. That's what a grounded man does. The Stoic answer here isn't flattery, it's presence. It's meeting that moment with quiet gratitude, not because she's chosen to like you, but because she trusts you enough to ask. That's intimacy long before any touch or promise. So when she asks, would you ever date someone like me? Don't rush, don't joke. Let your eyes soften, your tone slow, your body relax. Let her feel that you heard the heart behind the question. Then say something simple, true and steady. I think you already know the answer. That's how you turn a fragile question into a bridge. Because attraction at this stage of life isn't about chasing excitement, it's about finding peace in connection. And peace begins where performance ends. If this part spoke to you, drop a comment below and make it yours. Say, I welcome connection. Stay tuned. Because the next part reveals the language of attraction that doesn't use words at all. Question 8. The silent signals she sends. Not every message comes in words. In fact, most of them don't. By the time she asks a question, she's already spoken volumes through silence, posture, and presence. The truth is, women communicate attraction long before they ever say it out loud. But most men, especially older men, miss it completely, not because they're blind, but because they're too focused on doing instead of noticing. Stoicism teaches that awareness is power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, observe constantly that all things take place by change. Attraction is no different. It begins subtly, shifts gradually, and only becomes visible to a man who's still enough to see it. When you slow down and actually observe, you start to read the small, quiet invitations that most men rush past. So what are these silent signals? It starts with micro movements, the little gestures she doesn't even know she's making. A tilt of the head when you speak, eyes that linger a second longer than necessary, her feet pointing in your direction while she talks to someone else. The light, playful touch on your arm that seems accidental but never is. The laugh that comes half a second late because she's studying your face instead of the punchline. Every one of these moments is a question disguised as body language. Do you notice me? Is it safe to lean in? Can I drop my guard here? The key is to stay calm enough to recognize them without breaking the spell. The second you start chasing those signals, mirroring them too, obviously, or pushing the conversation faster, you interrupt the rhythm. But if you remain centered, you let the moment expand. Presence creates gravity. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Replace anger with impulse, and you have the Stoic rule for attraction. Slow down your responses. Don't rush to fill every silence. Don't interpret every glance as a green light. Let things unfold. Silence isn't a void, it's a space where connection forms. This is where older men actually have an advantage. With age comes awareness, patience, timing. You've lived enough to read subtleties, the way she fidgets with her necklace, the way her tone softens, the way her laughter slows down. That's not random, that's rhythm. And when you match it with calm attention instead of urgency, she feels seen, not pursued. Most women today are surrounded by men who talk too much, move too fast, and think attraction is about convincing rather than perceiving. But a man who listens with his eyes, who speaks less and notices more, that man stands out. Here's what this looks like in practice. You're in conversation, she leans in, slightly lowers her voice. You don't comment on it. You simply mirror her energy, stay relaxed, and hold soft eye contact. That unspoken understanding, that mutual awareness, is what builds true polarity. Remember, attention without control becomes neediness, but attention with control becomes magnetism. The Stoic man balances both. He sees, but he doesn't grasp. He feels, but he doesn't rush. He allows attraction to reveal itself naturally. So when she sends those silent signals, the look, the pause, the smile, don't overthink them. Don't analyze them to death. Just stay in your frame. Let her notice that you noticed. That's how you communicate attraction without saying a word. If you understand this, write it below and own it. Say, I read the silence. Stay with me, because what comes next shows how presence and not words turns awareness into connection. Question 9. How a Stoic man responds. By now you've probably realized that none of these questions women ask are really about the surface. They're not about your age, your past, or your preferences. They're all testing one thing: your presence. The difference between a man who responds like everyone else and a Stoic man comes down to this: the Stoic doesn't react. He chooses. When you respond, you're not just giving her words, you're showing her who you are. Most men answer fast because silence makes them nervous. They rush to prove something, to fill the space. But a Stoic man knows that silence is not emptiness. It's authority. It's the calm space where truth forms before it's spoken. Let's look at a moment that makes this clear. Paul, 55, recently divorced, is having dinner with Elena, 47. They met through mutual friends, and the chemistry is quiet but undeniable. Over the meal, she teases him lightly. "You're too calm. Do you ever get flustered?" Paul smiles, looks at her and says, "Not often. I try to live slow." He pauses, lets the words settle, and takes a sip of wine. No need to explain, no need to perform. Elena holds his gaze longer than before. That stillness, that deliberate ease is what draws her closer. Here's the truth. Most men don't want to hear. Women don't fall for words. They fall for the state you're in while you say them. Calm energy tells her she's safe. Composure tells her she can relax her guard. The Stoic response doesn't just impress, it invites. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In the context of attraction, that means you don't let her tone, her teasing, or her silence pull you out of your center. You let the world and her energy move around you while you remain still. That's what creates magnetism. Every question she asks, every playful jab, every test is a wave. A Stoic man doesn't fight the wave, he rides it. He stays steady while everything else shifts. That's what presence feels like. The key is not to suppress emotion, but to master expression. You can still laugh, flirt, and enjoy the tension, just don't lose control of your rhythm. The moment you start chasing validation, you hand her the frame. But when you respond slowly from awareness, she feels it immediately. The air changes. Think about the last time you were around a man who didn't need to prove himself, maybe a friend, a mentor, or even someone you just met. His calm probably made you feel calm too. That's the same thing women experience around a man who embodies Stoic composure. He's not distant, he's deliberate. Paul once told me, "When I stopped trying to impress women, they started noticing me more." That's the paradox. The less you react, the more powerful your responses become. You stop performing and start being. So when you're in that next conversation and she throws a question your way, don't rush, don't reach. Breathe. Let the silence do its work. Then answer with grounded certainty, not ego. That's how a Stoic man responds. And here's the best part. Once you learn to respond like this, attraction stops being about luck. It becomes about rhythm. You don't chase connection, you create it through stillness. If this resonates, claim it in the comments. Say, "I move with calm." Stick with me, because the final part reveals the secret that turns awareness into something women feel without a single word spoken. Question 10. The real secret women feel. Here's the truth. Most men never learn women don't fall in love with what you say. They fall for how they feel when they're around you. Every word, every pause, every look. It's not the content she remembers, it's the energy behind it. The real secret isn't in strategy, it's in state. When you carry calm confidence, she feels it without you ever saying a word. When your presence is grounded, her body relaxes. When you're comfortable with silence, she senses safety. That's what attraction really is, not fireworks but resonance. At this stage of life, connection stops being about looks or lines. It becomes about emotional gravity, the quiet force that draws two people together without effort. And that gravity can't be faked. It only comes from a man who's done his inner work, who knows who he is, and who no longer performs to be chosen. Think about how most men approach women. They talk too much, try too hard, and search for signs that they're doing it right. But a Stoic man does something radically different. He doesn't try to make her feel anything. He simply becomes a man worth feeling around. There's a difference between performance and presence. Performance says, "I hope she likes me." Presence says, "I like who I am." And women can tell the difference instantly. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That's the essence of masculine energy in its highest form. It means you don't demand anything from her. You just hold space, disciplined, calm, and free. You lead the emotional tone of the interaction without force. You guide her to safety without saying a word. This is what creates that feeling she can't explain, that magnetic pull, where she doesn't even know why she's drawn to you. It's not your charm or appearance. It's your presence. It's the energy of a man who's in command of himself. Let's make this real for a second. Imagine you're sitting across from a woman. The conversation slows. There's that quiet, electric pause. You don't fill it. You let it breathe. You look at her not to analyze, not to impress, just to see. You let her feel that you're not afraid of stillness. That moment, that calm in the noise is where attraction lives. Because women feel safe when a man is steady. They feel seen when he's present. And they feel desired when his attention is focused but unhurried. That's the trinity of masculine energy: safety, presence, desire. All of it wrapped in control. A stoic man doesn't hide from emotion, he channels it. He doesn't suppress passion, he disciplines it. The difference is subtle, but it changes everything. When you control your state, you control the atmosphere around you. The modern world tells men to talk more, text faster, prove themselves louder. But women don't want more words. They want awareness. They want to feel the man who listens, not the man who performs. So the real secret isn't to say the perfect thing. It's to be the calm in the storm. To show up fully and let your energy speak louder than your words ever could. That's what women truly respond to. Not what you promise, but what they feel in your presence. And when you can give that, you no longer chase connection. You become it. If this final truth resonates, write it below and own it. Say, I am the calm. If you want to take this deeper to master presence, discipline, and connection on a level most men never reach, join the Stoic Brotherhood, our members-only circle of men committed to growth. You'll find lessons, guidance, and real conversations about strength, awareness, and the art of connection. Click Join below to step into the next level of your journey. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning of becoming the man who doesn't speak to impress but lives in a way that women feel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.